one of my most exciting adventures was not actually digging up dinosaurs, as exciting as that has been in my life. It was the chance to go to the United Nations. I grew up, like many of us do in the United States, thinking that the United Nations is based in New York City because we're in America, and so we think everything has to do with America. But the truth is, the main United Nations is really in Geneva, Switzerland. And I was working at a job in Alabama at a place called the Southern Poverty Law Center, and a group was coming through looking for young people who could be delegates. They wanted to put together, it was called the Educators for World Peace, and it's an organization that's really trying to work on world peace. And so they thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we could get together a group of people in their 20s, young people who were really starting out in life, and try to bring them to the UN, let them see how the UN works, and also give them a chance to talk to people who want to understand what's important. What do these young people think? So I got the invitation, and as long as I could get my plane ticket together, they would have me. So I saved up and I got my plane ticket together, and so I got to go to the United Nations in Geneva as a delegate. And a delegate is someone special. You have a job. You're not just a tourist where you just go and watch. We had meetings with the person in charge of nuclear weapons, nuclear arms, the person who's in charge of the World Health Organization. We got to learn about how non-governmental organizations work in countries when there's wars going on. A lot of things that I had no idea about. I didn't even really know what international work was like. And one of the most exciting, biggest privileges I'm sure I will ever have for my whole life was I actually got to speak to members of the United Nations, the ambassadors to the United Nations. They invited me when they heard about my social justice work. Would I like to make a statement about minorities and the state of minorities? And so I actually had, overnight, I had to write what I was going to say. It was short, maybe 2 or 3 pages. I had to get it to them in the morning. They translated it into like 100 languages. And so I read in English, and all around me were members from all these different countries in Chinese, Japanese, Hebrew, Swedish, every kind of language you could imagine, with their headphones on, what I was reading in English. And it was incredible. It was just incredible. So that was such a privilege. But I'll tell you, one of the most important things about going to the United Nations for me was a revelation for myself. I could have probably had a job anywhere. I could have said, can you take me on as an intern? Can I start by volunteering? Or would you hire me? I know you have some jobs open, because the UN is a very big place and they're always looking for people with a passion to come and work. And I went to there's a whole department of the UN that just focuses on women and girls. And it was incredible. And I love the curriculum, and they work on health. The focus there is really that if you can educate a woman, if you can educate a girl, you educate a family. If you can educate a family, you can educate a country. It's a very powerful and very true idea, because women tend to be the anchor for what happens around health and stability and economics in families. And that's really true, I think, in the United States, but certainly true in countries that are coming up. So one of the most important things for me about this opportunity was the realization that I wanted to work at home, that I wanted to work locally. And when Project Exploration has formed, it's been a chance to work where I live. And as we've gotten recognition nationally and from the president, other kinds of things in my day-to-day work, it always comes back to me, this trip where I got to go to the center of the world and decide what I wanted to do was come home.